In this lesson, you're going to improve your listening skills of fast English, and you're going to learn how to sound more natural, more like an American, and you'll do that in only 10 minutes. Welcome back to JForrest English. I'm Jennifer. Now let's get started. Here's how this lesson will work. I'm going to say a sentence 3 times, and you need to write down exactly what you hear in the comments. After, I'll explain what I said, and I'll explain the pronunciation changes that take place in fast English, and I'll explain the natural expressions that I used. Are you ready for your first listening test? I'll say it 3 times. She's leaps and bounds more qualified than him. She's leaps and bounds more qualified than him. She's leaps and bounds more qualified than him. I said she's leaps and bounds more qualified than him. Notice the contraction, she's. This is she is, the verb to be. Native speakers will always contract this. She's. Let's talk about leaps and bounds. Notice how bounds, the D is not pronounced. Bounds, bounds. And here, when we have and between 2 words, you can reduce that just to leaps and bounds, leaps and bounds, leaps and bounds. She's leaps and bounds more qualified than him. Notice how you don't hear the H on him, than him. But if we want to combine those sounds together and say it like one word, then him. Let's talk about what this means. She's more qualified than him. You understand that. When I add leaps and bounds, this is a modifier. It makes more qualified stronger. So it sounds like greatly more qualified, a lot more qualified. And it can also mean quickly if that's the context. But in this context, it's a modifier that means greatly. So you can say, I've improved my English by leaps and bounds. By leaps and bounds. Here, notice how you have to include the word by. I've improved my English, and you want to modify that improve to make it sound stronger. I've improved my English by leaps and bounds. So write that in the comments if you feel like my lessons are helping you improve your English by leaps and bounds. Jennifer, I've improved my English by leaps and bounds. Put that in the comments.
It's leaps and bounds ahead of mine. Which means
you are just progressing by leaps and bounds.
Virchicon has grown by leaps and bounds.
Let's try this again. I'll say it 3 times. Is the agenda set in stone? Is the agenda set in stone? Is the agenda set in stone? I said, is the agenda set in stone? First, let's talk about the agenda. Notice how I have that long E sound, the agenda, because agenda starts with a vowel. This is not a rule that native speakers always follow. I could equally say the agenda, the agenda, the agenda. So if you hear both, it's just not something a native speaker always does. Let's talk about set in stone. Notice we have a T between 2 vowels. So we can pronounce that T as a soft D, set in, din. So I take that sound and I connect it to the next word in, and it sounds like din, din, set in stone. And I'll say all 3 of those words together because they're an expression. The expression is to be set in stone. In our example, the verb to be is. It starts the sentence because the sentence is in question form. Is the agenda set in stone? To be set in stone. When something is set in stone, in this case the agenda, it's in a state that is very difficult, if not impossible, to change. So the agenda could be set in stone because all the speakers are confirmed. You've booked the hotel room. You've already paid for the hotel room. People have already booked their ticket to come to the event. So it's difficult, if not impossible, to change any aspects of the agenda. It's set in stone. We commonly use this expression in the negative to say our plans aren't set in stone. If I say that to you, it means that I can change my plans. So perhaps I told you what my plans are, and then you want to do something different. I can say, oh, don't worry, our plans aren't set in stone. So it's saying I can change my plans are flexible. So you can use this both in the positive or the negative.
Because nothing's set in stone.
Oof, is that set in stone?
These nicknames, are they set in stone?
Let's try this again. I'll say it 3 times. I was tossing and turning all night. I was tossing and turning all night. I was tossing and turning all night. Did you get this one? I said I was tossing and turning all night. We have and, so remember, same thing as before, tossing in, I can change that to but I have to connect it to the word before, tossing and turning. So I will say all 3, tossing and turning, as one word. Tossing and turning, tossing and turning, tossing and turning. Now, commonly a native speaker will drop the G sound on tossing, ing, and just say tossin', tossin'. I personally don't do this, but many native speakers do. Tossin', tossing, tossin'. But same thing, you have that sound, tossin' and turnin', tossin' and turnin', or like I said, tossing and turning, tossing and turning. The pronunciation is quite clear, but if you don't know what this means, you won't know how to communicate with a native speaker. I was tossing and turning all night. To toss and turn, this is used to say you had a very restless sleep and you were moving a lot. That is the tossing and turning. That's the movement. You were moving a lot while you were sleeping, so you had a restless sleep. If you were tossing and turning all night, it means you had a restless sleep, so it means right now you're tired. You could say, sorry, I'm yawning so much. I tossed and turned all night. And that means you had a terrible sleep, so now you're tired.
That's what's got you tossing and turning.
He's always tossing and turning.
Man, then I spend all night tossing and turning trying to figure out what I should have said.
Are you ready for your next listening exercise? I'll say it 3 times. Just give it a go and see. Just give it a go and see. Just give it a go and see. Did you get this one? I said just give it a go and see. Let's talk about give it. We can combine these together and I'm going to use that v sound. Give it, vit, vit, give it, give it. So that's how I can say these 2 words as one, give it. And I'll do the same thing with a go. I'll just pronounce it as one word, a go. Give it a go. Give it a go. Give it a go. Just give it a go and see. What does this mean? To give something a go simply means to try something. So if I say just give it a go, I'm saying just try it. Maybe your friend invited you to go dancing, but you don't know how to dance. I could say just give it a go. Now here the it is dancing. So I could say just give dancing a go. Just give dancing a go. Remember in the original example, it was just give it a go and see. Here, the C represents and see what happens. See what happens when you try dancing. Maybe you are really good at it, or maybe you're not very good at it, but you had so much fun, you don't even care that you weren't good at it. So if you send me a message and say, Jennifer, I'm not sure if I can give a presentation in English, I'll say to you, just give it a go. So I want you to write in the comments right now, Jennifer, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go. Put that in the comments. Jennifer, I'll give it a go.
I'll give it a go.
Let's give it a go.
Let's give it a go and see what the future brings.
Let's try this one more time. I'll say it 3 times. We have a lot riding on this pitch. We have a lot riding on this pitch. We have a lot riding on this pitch. I said we have a lot riding on this pitch. Notice when I said the sentence fast, I did not contract we have. I didn't say we've a lot riding on this pitch. I didn't say that. I said we have a lot riding on this pitch. That's because in American English, we do not contract have when have is the main verb. We only contract have when it's an auxiliary verb. I could change this and say we've got a lot riding on this pitch. In this case, have is the auxiliary verb, got is the main verb, so I can form that contraction. We have, we've got a lot riding on this pitch. You're probably wondering what this means. When you have a lot riding on something, it means that something, whatever the something is extremely important to your success, whatever success means to you. Now, in this case, the something is this pitch. This pitch is extremely important to this person's overall success. What does this pitch mean? In the business world, a pitch is a presentation, but the purpose is to convince someone to do something or to buy something. So it's extremely important that this pitch, this presentation is successful. And it's extremely important for the person's overall success, likely their career success. To use a previous expression that you learned, I was tossing and turning all night thinking about this pitch. My career is riding on it.
Everything is riding on it.
Well, this is it, folks. Everything is riding on this pitch.
So much rides on this.
Now let's do an imitation exercise so you can practice this pronunciation. So I'm going to say each sentence again, but I want you to say the sentence out loud, and then we'll repeat that 3 times. So let's do that now. She's leaps and bounds more qualified than him. She's leaps and bounds more qualified than him. She's leaps and bounds more qualified than him. Is the agenda set in stone? Is the agenda set in stone? Is the agenda set in stone? I was tossing and turning all night. I was tossing and turning all night. I was tossing and turning all night. Just give it a go and see. Just give it a go and see. Just give it a go and see. We have a lot riding on this pitch. We have a lot riding on this pitch. We have a lot riding on this pitch. So did you like this lesson? Do you want me to make more lessons just like this? If you do, then put give it a go, give it a go. Put give it a go in the comments so I know you want lessons just like this. And of course, make sure you like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And you can get this free speaking guide where I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently, so you're not tossing and turning before your interview, presentation, or language exam. So make sure you get this. It's free. You can click here to download it or look for the link in the description. And why don't you keep improving your vocabulary with this lesson? I know you'll love it. So give it a go.